Welcome to the game. I'm Russ Cohen. We've got Nico Riesgo. Nico, how are you?
Russ Cohen, my man.
And Michael Jello, how are you?
Good evening.
All right. So I'm going to talk about the Mets first because there's a lot of news, but I sort of created some news as well. I just tweeted something. Pete Alonso got a walk-off homer today, hit his 10th homer. He's got 36 RBIs, leading the league. But, I knew he was the second fastest to 100 homers. So against my better judgment, I did the math. And this year he's got to hit 34 more homers to get 150. Fastest to 150 is Ryan Howard at 495. He's at 410, so he's not going to do that. But then the second fastest is Aaron Judge at 552. He is going to do that. Pete Alonso, before the end of this year, end of this season, will be, I think, the second fastest to hit 150 homers. Nico, what's your take on Pete Alonso?
I love it. I think he's broken out of a shell. I think last year he was in kind of a shell. He didn't really know which way the team was going to go, and it was a long season for him, and he really couldn't get hot. It's good to see him swinging the bat, dominating again like he was in 2020. So is this going to last the whole season? I mean, hopefully so, because he's prone to go to top in cycles.
Yeah, sure. Like most homer hitters go in cycles. I mean, that's pretty normal. But Mike, what's your take? I mean, we both watched Aaron Judge's whole career. I did see him in the minors as well. It's hard to believe he's this great after seeing him struggle in the minors a little, but he is. But what's your take on the home run number?
I mean, if Alonso can do that, I mean, it'll be a fantastic feat. I mean, Judge's numbers are colored by the fact that, as I think it was as a rookie, or maybe he played enough game or too many games that first year. But he had 52 home runs in his first full season. So, and then we know how he has struggled with injury since then. So, although last year he did very well. I mean, the one thing that I think that differentiates the two of them is, Alonso is primarily a first baseman, and I don't know if they've been using him mostly at DH, and he's a decent first baseman. Yeah,
a little more DH than first, but he still plays in first. Yeah,
right. And now, the funny thing is, in the year before Judge potentially could become a free agent, the Yankees are using him even more in center field because Aaron Hicks has been horrible lately. So his defense in the outfield has become even more an important aspect of his game. That's why I think he's a more valuable player than Alonso. But Alonso's a great hitter. I love the way he hits. And, if he breaks that record, that's fantastic.
Yeah, because he had 53 in his first year, like you were saying, Judge, and he would have to hit 44 this year to do it. But even if he doesn't do it this year, it can go into next year, and he's still got enough leeway to do it. Okay, but the bad news for the Mets is Max Scherzer's got a strained oblique. He's out, what they say, 6 to 8 weeks. So, Nico, the one worry I had about the Mets this year was would Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom be on the same pitching rotation at any time this year? And so far the answer is no. And the answer is going to be no probably through June. So that's up in the air.
And that's scary, too, because Scherzer was the magic potion in the formula to kind of disrupt the curse here, and they were on the right track. And Showalter, too. We've got to give the manager, credit, man. He is in every single game, every single pitch. He is not going to take a loss. I mean, he is going after every single win he can get.
Let's not paint this with too broad a brush, Nico. For one thing, he's never won a championship. For one thing,
but
he makes plenty of mistakes. He's doing a good job, but people are overblowing the job he's doing. They really are. They are. It's early in the season. Let's see when it gets down to crunch time.
Yes, let's give him the crunch time. He's starting off well, and that's what we want to see. Yes. Exactly what we want to see. But now he's going to be he's got his hands full with the loss of Scherzer now, and we're going to see just how that rotation could holds up, because McGill is just, he's got he's awesome, and he's got a good start, but he's got some weak links.
Yeah,
And
he's
again,
hurt
like
too, though.
he's hurt now. Like you said,
Yeah.
who's going to be the horse? Tawan Walker. It was good to see him throw well in his last outing because he started off shaky. I don't know if he came in out
Yeah.
of shape during spring training, but he's definitely
No.
not.
He had a knee.
The
He
last
had knee surgery, so he was coming back from that, and it took a little
Okay.
longer. He's doing good.
Well, now
Carrasco's
he's
doing a
back.
little
Yeah,
better.
his last performance showed that he's actually coming back.
Yeah.
But
No, his last couple have been good, but
but
it's him, Bassett, and
Bassett.
Carrasco who's kind of like up and down, and then you're gonna have to fill in guys like Peterson, and it's this next 5 weeks is going to be a big deal because they've got a 6-game lead on the Phillies, but now their starting pitching staff is really hampered. Mike,
I know. I mean, I think it's devastating. First of all, you've never had deGrom this year.
No, not yet.
And I still don't know. I've heard differing opinions on when they think he's going to be back. I mean, obviously they don't want to bring him back until he's 100%, and they want him, for the stretch drive. But they need him, especially now. I don't think they're going to rush him back. But you had Scherzer basically holding down the fort, and now if he's out 2 months. And again, you don't know what you're going to get back when he comes back. You hope he's going to be as good as he's been. But, I mean, this is really a situation where, this is their trial by fire. And, I don't know if Bassett, Carrasco, Taiwan Walker, Peterson, whoever they're going to use. I mean, they're going to have to get a lot of offense to maintain that lead in the NL East.
Yeah, and the Mets have some other guys that are really kind of mediocre pitchers. Now, Trevor Cahill is another one they signed to a minor league deal who may end up getting some starts. So, Nico, we'll see. Cahill's an Oceanside, California guy, so you're probably aware of him.
No, I haven't heard of the name Cahill yet, but Destiny's
Okay.
on my radar now. Yeah, if they just brought him up, you're going to give him a chance.
He's kicked around a bit for a bunch of different teams, but years ago he had 18 wins with Oakland in 2010. So he's not a spring chicken, and again, they may have to go out and do something else. All right, Mike, we'll switch to the. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Bob Tewksbury's out there still.
Yeah, Bob Tewksbury might be like 60.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then we switch to the Yankees, Mike, and things look good right now. They're actually in a better spot than the Mets in the sense that they're a little healthier on the pitching staff, but then they have their other issues.
Well, right now they're very fortunate. I mean, they're the second best record in baseball right now. They took 3 of 4 from Baltimore, which is encouraging because last year, a team like the difference between Tampa Bay winning the AL East and the Yankees tying with the Red Sox was the records against Baltimore. Their record against Baltimore, I think it was like 10-9, and Tampa Bay was like 18-1 or something ridiculous like that. So but right now, I mean, you've got Aaron Judge hitting over 300 on a salary drive. I think Stanton is having a fairly decent year and hitting for power. LeMahieu is doing okay, but their offense, I mean, you've got automatic outs in Trevino and Kyle Higashioka, catcher. Aaron Hicks, I think, has gone 2 for his last 1,000. He's just like
sounds right.
Joey Gallo is a complete nothing. And they're still winning. And the reason they're winning is because their pitching has been fantastic. I mean, it's not just Garrett Cole. They have the best bullpen in baseball. They really do. And I don't think that's hyperbole. Guys like Clay Holmes and I mean, Loaizaga has been lit up a little bit, but he's starting to come back. And Chapman has been really good. Their bullpen has been fantastic. So, I mean, as long as that lasts, I mean, you're getting solid outings from your rotation. Guys like Montgomery and Severino is pretty decent. They're in great shape. But the whole thing is, can they get some more hitting, because eventually they're going to need to hit. They're going to need those guys. They can't have a 5-man batting order. They need to have 6-7 guys producing offensively. And right now they don't have that going on.
Yeah, they got a plus 72 differential right now, so that's a pretty big deal. Okay, so I'm going to give an early Rookie of the Year watch, and I'm going to say Alexis Diaz. He is the younger brother of Edwin. The other day, they both had saves. First time brothers have ever had saves on the same day in Major League Baseball. Kind of cool. Alexis was like a late bloomer. I think he's 25, and here's what he's done this year, and it's kind of amazing. Yeah, at the age of 25, all of a sudden he comes up. He's got a win. He's got a save. He's got 2 holds. He's got a 1.02 ERA and a 21 strikeouts in 17 innings and a 1.08 WHIP, which is actually better than his brother. Mike, I got to tell you, Cincy, who was a horrifically bad team, and early on they were putting them in the category of the 62 Mets, but now that they've won a couple, they may not be on pace with that. He could be their savior in the next year as they start to rebuild.
Yeah, I think anybody out there in fantasy land should pick this guy up.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether a reliever can win Rookie of the Year. Usually it's a hitter or a starting pitcher, but depending on
relievers have done it before.
They can, but I'm just saying he would have to maintain these statistics the entire year and probably get, say 30 saves. So, and if he's and honestly, Cincinnati deserves the scorn and ridicule of Major League Baseball for trading, anything that Sonny Gray, Winker. I mean, how many? The only thing they didn't trade was Joey Votto. So, I mean, to me, that organization, a once proud organization, okay, they've won a couple games. I think really that the fans in Cincinnati are probably pissed off the way things are going on right now.
From a quick look, it looks like Houston Street may have been the last one to win it in 05.
I remember him.
Yep. Nico, what do you think of the Diaz brothers?
You know what? It's surprising that the younger brother that's come on that strong with those kind of numbers in a place like Cincinnati. Of course, I don't think he'll get close to 30 save opportunities. So I think, he may fade away. He may be forgotten by the end of the year. But like I said, he's put his name on the radar. He's there. He's definitely trade bait. If the Reds are willing to trade something.
You don't trade a guy like this. He's pitched in 17 games. Even if they're not a good team this year, this guy is their closer of the future. He's got a magic arm. Why would you trade him?
And he's cheap. And he's cheap.
Just because he's the Reds. The Reds just don't know what they're doing.
No, he's cheap. So they won't trade him. But Russ, as soon as you said the Diaz brothers, I was thinking of harking back to the famous rant by Al Pacino and Scarface. And I won't say
funny.
Yes, the bleeping Diaz brothers, bleep them all. But anyway,
that's funny.
No, but I mean, okay, they're in a rebuild. They're going cheap. The last thing they're going to do is trade a cheap guy. Right. So
no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah. All right, so Nico, I said the Braves are going to be bad this year. They're still bad. They're 17-21. They're 8 games out. Acuna's been back, and they're minus 13 for the differential. What is your take on the Atlanta Braves now?
It's early, and I think what we saw last year, the Atlanta Braves did not have a clue until really the trade deadline. So the Atlanta Braves are one of those organizations where it's a great organization, and they are taking a hit and a blow with the loss of Freddie Freeman and finding some leadership there. Matt Olson has actually came on board. I like him. He's there. He's healthy, and I think Austin Riley is the key. Once he starts getting hot, Acuna's back in there. They've got the pitching. Max Fried is tough. Anderson is tough. The Braves, I think the Braves are going to win it. They're the best team overall.
They're not the best team
in the East.
They're not the best team in the East. They could win it, but I don't think they will.
I don't think they're the best team in the East, but the thing is that it just brings the deGrom and the Scherzer injuries into focus. If they're out, this is Atlanta's time to sort of kick it into high gear.
It's everybody's time in that division.
Yeah. So you could see on July 1st, 3 teams within say 4 games. It's very possible. So it's like, I mean, they're going to have to take their opportunity right now and catch the Mets, because once deGrom and Scherzer are back, it's over with. I mean, you've got 40% of your rotation, which is lights out. So
Yes. Speaking of a team that nobody talks about, the Milwaukee Brewers, who have the pleasure of always playing the Cubs and the Pirates and the Reds, are 24-14. Now, Nico, a lot of teams played divisional play early on in this season. Do you think it's a factor of that, or do you think they are this good again?
I think they are this good. I mean, they have some horses on the mound. I mean, Corbin Burness is one of the best pitchers in the league. I think they really messed up last year. They had a close chance at that World Series. They made a mistake on not letting Corbis pitch their horse after 3 days rest. They end up choosing Lauer and end up losing that playoff game. And they're ready now. I think they know they made mistakes. I think they're going to position themselves. They're going to be in the race at the end. And they're for real. Everybody better wake up. The Brewers are for real. They play hard. You saw them last night in the extra innings. They did not give up. Even the guy who came out, the hero, Kira, he was sick all day. I mean, he battled all day. He was like 0 for 4. He didn't give up. And, he battled in that ninth inning. And then went up, I think the game winner in the 10th or 11th or something. They just do not give up, and that's a reflection of their players.
Mike, they've played the Cubs, the Reds, the Orioles, the Phillies. They've had a few tough series. They've caught the Braves early when they weren't good. Mm-hmm. Is this a fortuitous start? Now they're playing the Nationals.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a product of an easy division, because if you look at the Cardinals, I don't think they're particularly strong this year. The Cubs are
but they're okay. They're okay.
They're okay. I mean, but I think I think Milwaukee is sort of the class of that division. The Cubs are sort of rebuilding, retooling. I don't get the feeling that they're really a legitimate contender for a playoff spot. And we know what the Reds and the Pirates are. So I think Milwaukee's a bit of a creation, but they do have some good players. And I mean, Hader is probably the best closer in baseball. He's just scary. So I mean, they're having a good year. They're probably going to win that division, and if they don't, they're probably going to make the playoffs as a wild card. So,
yep. All right, Nico, the team that I picked to win the West in the AL is the Angels. Right now, they're a game behind Houston. They added Syndergaard. They added Loop. They still have Ohtani. They still have Trout. Now it seems like they finally have a few more, really solid players. Those two players made a big difference in their pitching staff. Plus, they added one more pitcher who escapes me right now. And
Andrew Heaney.
Yeah. And lo and behold, they're right in it. What do you think of the Angels?
I love the Angels. I love Ohtani. I mean, Ohtani has come here. He's proven that he wants a World Series. I mean, he's not going to be satisfied with the MVP or Rookie of the Year. I mean, he wants a ring. He wants to prove that he's a champion. And I think this is his year. Mike Trout, if he stays healthy, I think that the excitement of someone like a Ward has come to the table now with his skills offensively. They bring it every single day. They're in the ball game. Madden, their manager, has them tight, and if they can just get past the Rangers, they seem to struggle in Texas. I mean, that's their hole, and they were just in Texas and they didn't really do well, which is kind of a reflection on, are they going to be able to carry it out the whole year? And if they can't beat Texas, they're going to have a long year. So their pitching is skeptical after Ohtani. I mean, yes, they got Thor, but Thor, like I said, Thor has we've seen him. He's not the Thor of old. He has some holes and some weaknesses, and he can be beaten.
Yeah, he can be beaten, but he's still a way better than average pitcher. Mike?
Yeah, no, Heaney was with the Angels last year. He was traded to the Yankees, then he went to the Dodgers. So I apologize. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little skeptical of the Angels. It's like they do have a better support staff for Trout. I mean, guys like Fletcher and Walsh and Rendon, but again, it's like and I hope I'm wrong. I'm waiting for Ohtani to break down. I just don't see how a player, he's a freak. how he's going to do
He is
what
a
he's
freak.
doing.
I'm beginning to believe that.
Yeah, but it's like if he can continue to do this, I give him all the credit in the world because nobody else can do it.
No.
But yeah, I'm just waiting for the axe to fall. Really, it's like
But once in a while, we have to admit, once in a while, a player does come around that really can do these things, and sometimes it takes a little while to be a full believer. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think that Houston is probably the team that should be favored, which I believe me don't relish the thought of Houston winning that division because I'd like to see Houston like shot into the sun. But but they have a fighting chance because you have Trout and you have Ohtani, so
yeah,
that's a good start.
And a little bit more around them. All right, so Nico,
yeah.
Also we are looking at a White Sox situation where last year La Russa screwed over Yermin Mercedes, one of their better prospects. Benched him, then threw him down to the minors because he hit a home run off an eephus pitch, which again, La Russa acted like that was like the worst thing a player could ever do in the unwritten rules of baseball. And he grappled with that last year. And now this year, they're grappling with being just a 500 team with all the talent they have. La Russa says it's unacceptable. And now there's articles being written like maybe Ozzie Guillen could come in and replace him. There's trouble in with the White Sox.
You should have known there's going to be trouble with the White Sox when they even hired La Russa. I mean, La Russa, for him to even last year was just like a miracle. And why they went with him again? I guess because they figured maybe, he'll get better. But no, I mean, they think last year was about everything La Russa had. And matter of fact, they performed a little bit for him. But you could tell I would have went with Rivera, the manager before, because they were really starting to rally behind the manager there. They were a team. They had some cohesiveness. You can see that they were close to a World Series. La Russa has come in and he's dismantled the whole cohesiveness in the team. They can't even keep the big guy healthy. Jimenez, that has really hurt him too. And their starting pitching is erratic.
It's because he's Jerry Reinsdorf's buddy. That's why he got the job. That's why he kept the job. And one of the reasons for their struggles is a guy who's been an MVP and Jose Abreu is hitting below the Mendoza line. It's like, you've got some talent there. You got Luis Robert or Robert or however you want to pronounce his name. And there are a couple good hitters, but I'll tell you something right now. I still, to this day, don't understand the trade they made last year when they traded Madrigal, one of the best young prospect second baseman out there, for a closer, and then they trade the closer away. Yeah. The way that organization is being run
all year again this year, he's again can't seem to escape injury. So we'll have to see about the trade line.
Yeah.
Okay, 2014. That's the number. That is the last time the Detroit Tigers made the playoffs. And Nico, they're still pretty pathetic. Spencer Torkelson, we're all hoping for something. He's got like 4 homers this year. And now they're writing, well, in his next 100 at-bats is when he's going to do it. He's got tremendous power. Cabrera got the 3,000th hit. That was amazing. But again, what the hell is going on with this organization? Like, how long is this rebuild going to take?
Well, here it is. You got to understand the ballpark that these young Tiger hitters have to come up into. They got to come up into a ballpark that it's almost impossible to hit a home run out of. You got to be almost Superman to hit a home run. And then it's early in the winter. It's still cold in the year. The ball's really not even taken off in Detroit just yet. Summertime hasn't hit yet. So
right.
These low numbers in Detroit are kind of typical for Detroit hitters in that ballpark. So Detroit is really not looking for home runs from this guy. Basically, they're just looking for line drives, hopefully some big RBI hits, and just being a consistent 300 hitter. Because there's not going to be any 40 home run hitters in Detroit. That's for sure.
Mike?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of hope with Torkelson, and it's not unusual for a young player to struggle, but there's really not a lot of there. I mean, when they made the trade early on to get Austin Meadows when Tampa dumped him, and I didn't understand that move from the Tampa perspective, although with everything with Tampa is we don't want to pay the guy money. But
Right.
really there, it's like I'm looking at the stats right now. 207 for Robbie Grossman. Javi Baez, their big free agent guy, 204. Torkelson, 173. Jonathan Schoop, 161. I mean, the only guys that are hitting right now are Meadows and Cabrera and Eduardo Rodriguez, who they signed from the Red Sox. That guy has been hurt every year of his career, and he got hurt again this week. So I don't know. I mean, they've had some bad luck in terms of the guys that they go out and get, but they're just not a good organization. They really aren't.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said. Okay, speaking of mediocre organizations, the Padres shut out the Phillies again. And I shouldn't say again, but they shut them out today, 2-0. Yu Darvish shuts them down. Nico, this is an interesting one because the Phillies spent money, but they spent it all on hitting. They knew they were going to have a brutal defensive team, and Bryce Harper's got a bad elbow to the point where he's getting shot up with cortisone, so he's only playing DH. You've got an outfield that has Castellanos and Schwarber in it, which again is brutal on the corners, and they're not getting the home runs that they were hoped to be getting. What do you think about this team? They're in second place, but they're still like over 6 games out at this point. 7 games, I think.
Yeah, they're not going to last. That's what I think. I mean, obviously the Braves are going to overcome them. The Mets are going to overcome them. They've got a lot of pressure every single night to play at the top of their game. And
Mike, we lost Nico.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you're back.
Did we lose him?
I think we did lose him. Mike, what's your take? I mean, Bryce Harper, has this elbow injury. He's hitting great, but he can't play the field, so their fielding's compromised. Castellanos, 5 homers, 21 RBIs. That's pretty good. I don't know if he's worth the money.
Yeah,
they should have invested in pitching.
Ideally, well, yeah, you would think so, but in that bandbox ballpark, maybe they think we're gonna have to win games 10-8, so we may as well, just stack up. I mean, they've got
They're
Zach
7
Wheeler.
games out already of the Phillies. Like it's just
they were
hoping for good things this year.
It's clearly not working right now, but I mean, Schwarber's a man without a position. If he's not playing DH every day, it's a mistake. But if they have to play him in the outfield because of injuries and other situations, I think that in the end, this can be a detriment to them. And the funny thing is, if you look at the team that I would say is the equivalent of them in the American League, it's the Toronto Blue Jays. They're an unbelievable all-offense lineup. And if you look at what they did, they lost the Cy Young winner in Robbie Ray. They lost Steven Matz.
Although Ray doesn't look particularly great.
But who knows what he would have done if he stayed in Toronto? But they lose Ray. Yeah. They lose Steven Matz. They replace him with Kevin Gausman, who's been okay, and Kikuchi, who's he's not good, and Ryu and Barrios have not been good. So and their bullpen is terrible. So, I mean, these teams that think, they can just overpower things, you've got to have at least a good bullpen and an average rotation. And if you don't, you're not going to win.
No, it's true. And, yeah, the Blue Jays have been disappointing for sure. But, Nico, Dodgers, one of the best teams in baseball still. Are they still the team to beat, even though we're not talking about them right this moment?
Yes, absolutely. They're the team to beat. I mean, they just day in and day out, like you said, their run differentials in the 80s or something like that.
Plus 83. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So that tells you who the better team is. And, can they be beaten? Do they have any weak links? Yeah, they do. They have a tough time against right-handed pitching. Some hard right-handers that throw inside to Turner, basically keeps them off base, and someone who's got a good changeup, keep them off base. But not too many teams have that front line, flamethrower starter with the good changeup to keep the Dodgers off balance like that. So they're going in this every series, and they're just beating up on everybody. It's going to be interesting to see if like I said, Gosselin has just been, pitching out of his mind here. See if he can keep it up. Kershaw's been, like I said, Kershaw. I mean, he lost it for a few years, but he is back, and he's throwing gems, and he's getting outs, and they've got
See, the
Walker
Phillies
Buehler.
beat the Dodgers 3-4, and they got very excited, but that was like the low point for the Dodgers. They really haven't done anything bad otherwise.
And right now,
they caught him at the right time.
Yeah.
And right now Kershaw's hurt and Heaney is hurt. So, they're sort of piecing together a rotation around Buehler and Urias and Gonsolin, who's having a sort of a pretty decent season. But, they're only going to go as far as their offense takes them. They're going to need Mookie Betts to be Mookie Betts and Turner. And, I don't know if their offense can be as good as it was with Seager there and some of the other bats that they had, but they're going to try to piece together a lineup that it's a pretty good lineup when everybody's healthy, when everybody's going, but that's a problem. Not everybody's healthy and not everybody's going.
Yeah, somebody to add to your rotation on your fantasy team if he isn't taken already. I picked him up late in my draft, and that's Tyler Anderson, 4-0. Like, he was a top pick for the Rockies back in 2011, but, now at the Dodgers, he is killing it. So he's another one of those guys. Yeah, Dodgers, look pretty good right now. If it's a Yankees-Dodgers World Series, you know who I'm rooting for, Mike.
Of course you're rooting for the Yankees.
Yeah, that's happened once. I rooted for the Yankees in 2009 because I was so sick of the Phillies. I'm like, fine, I'll root for the Yankees this year. But that was the only year ever.
I mean, you didn't root for them in 2001. Even Red Sox fans were rooting for them in 2001.
No.
Oh, God. Heartless. Heartless.
All right. Well, that's it for the game. We'll catch everybody next time.
My man.